interesting how a lot of the analysis is aligning with what you've been thinking and what you've been talking about, and it's a really interesting conclusion that Mick's given us for these couple of days. Could I ask Sally and Jen and John and Sean to come forward, please? So as they come forward, can we please thank Mick Keogh from the AFR? John, you want to come too? Okay, you're going to get shy on me now, are you? Okay, we're just going to ask Sean and Sally to summarise, what they've seen over the... I've only got a couple of minutes because we've got planes to catch, but summarise what you've seen over the past couple of days and what really moved you, what really affected you, and you'll leave this with.
Yeah, okay. Well, look, I can't compete with one of the best brains in ag in Mick Keogh, so I've actually gone outside ag to some of the really big thinkers of our time, Kanye West and Justin Timberlake. So most of you are probably familiar with the Kanye song Stronger, and I think the lyrics really sum up a lot of what we've been talking about, which is bigger, better, faster, stronger. And that, we need to get bigger, we need to get better, we need to get back to basics in our business and make sure we really understand the profitability drivers there. And we need to do that before we start applying some of this innovation. We need to get faster. We need to get faster at adoption, faster at responding to consumer concerns, and we certainly want our connectivity to get faster. And I think the big thing that we've kept coming back to this week is that if we want to get stronger, we need cohesive leadership, and I think that's a really key point. And the second theme song I've picked from you is from JT, which is Bringing Sexy Back. Because I think that's where we need ag to be. The industry that's hot not only attracts the top talent, the bright minds, but it attracts the capital. And the challenge I want to lay down for you is to be, I guess it resonates with exactly what Sean and I do, which is be a better storyteller. Whether you're a farmer or in the supply chain, you need to be able to tell a compelling story that's authentic and that's engaging to your audience. And that audience might be government, it might be potential investors, and it certainly should be the consumer. There's a guy called Jeff Bezos who founded Amazon and who a couple of years ago bought the Washington Post. And he's a really dynamic leader, and he's really famous for a couple of things, including putting an empty chair in the room at meetings to remind people of the most important person in the equation, the customer. In our business, we aim to be customer first, and I really don't think we focus enough on that. We really need to be driven by the customer needs, that sort of desire that Xavier touched on. And the other thing to take from Jeff is to base your strategy on things that won't change. We can't control a lot of factors, so focus on what you can, and one of those is what you can do with what you've learned here this week. And then up to you, Sean.
Well said, Sal.
Well, that's a hard act to follow.
It is, isn't it? That was really good.
I just want to say I'm really privileged to have been here, and I've been so impressed at how clever and how keen you all are to meet the challenges ahead. There's already a mountain of data out there and a lot of R&D, much of it that you pay for, so the challenge is to identify it so that your industries get maximum benefit, to help shape it and make it relevant going forward, and to help pair it with the right commercial partners so that you get the best return on your investment. As leaders in your industries, communication and collaboration will be key, and understanding why the cotton industry has been so successful will be important. As a storyteller, I'm excited about how you will tell your own stories and the stories of what makes brand Australia. How will you help the world see Australia as the France of the South Pacific, producing food, fibre and beverages that reflect a diverse, multicultural people with a rich Indigenous history? A brand that's synonymous with quality, first world goods that are produced sustainably and ethically and can attract premium prices. And how will you tell your own stories and the stories of your industry sectors to be in control of the narrative rather than allow interest groups to shape the stories themselves for their own agendas? And finally, a prediction. I think commercial television's obsession with MasterChef and cooking shows is going to evolve back to the source, back to you people, back to food. That farming, agriculture, someone's going to come up with a format that creates a compelling, entertaining television show, and farming is going to become sexy. Cheers. Good luck with it.
What a privilege to have Sean and Sally, and let's say thank you again. That was really good. So John Harvey, now really important, I'm going to ask John to come forward now. John from RIRDC and Kay's here as well, and Jen and Maxine. RIRDC have been right in the middle of this, and they've been a real driver of this strategy, and there's probably more to come, but it's been really good to get it this far, and we want a really big thank you for John Harvey.
Thanks, Mike. There's just two things I would like to do. The first one is a few thank yous, and then I want to talk a little bit about going forward. Over the last 3 days, we've had a range of speakers, and we've been very capably guided through the process of this workshop, and we've had some fabulous segues and some good connections between our speakers, and Mike, you've done a great job in leading us through the last 3 days, and I'd just like to ask if you could join me in thanking Mike Logan for his... We've also had some really insightful questions and summing up by both Sally and Sean. Really appreciate having them here. It's fantastic to hear their perspective. They've got a great insight to our very, very important audience, which is largely in cities. And Sean and Sally, I can't even see you, but there we are. Okay, look, really do appreciate your time and your enthusiasm, your interest in our industry. You are part of our industry. And again, I'd just like to ask that we also acknowledge their contribution. The organisation of the workshop, Sefton's, fabulous job, that we've worked very closely together over the last fortnight. It's been a pleasure working with everybody from Sefton's. Great, again, enthusiasm and commitment to what we're trying to achieve here. So again, please, I'm going to ask you to again join in thanking them. Mike mentioned, RIRDC's obviously got a fair bit at stake here, and there's two people in particular within RIRDC who have done a huge amount to pull off the last 3 days. Jen Medway and Max Kerr, fabulous effort. Another great event, done in very short succession. We had Rural Women's Awards last week, so you deserve a good sleep over the long weekend. Again. Please, could you join me in thanking them too? We've had a range of good, fabulous speakers, and they've all put in their own time, come a long way, and again, that's been fantastic. I do want to acknowledge their contribution, and I know we did that after each session, so I won't ask for applause for them, but it is fabulous to have that commitment to the industry. In terms of going forward, I just want to say a couple of words. The first thing is, in terms of continuing contact with this group, you are all members of a Facebook group, so that is your best point of contact for finding out people that you've met over the last few days and for finding out more information about coming out of the event. RIRDC will be developing some resources to go into that Facebook group. In particular, we should be able to provide you with a range of photos. You probably noticed that throughout the proceedings we have been video recording. I'm sure we can make some of that available. And there's also obviously the presentations. So please, can I just ask, keep looking at that site, keep seeing what's happening there. And then probably more important than all that is, please make sure you do build on the connections that you've made over the last 3 days. That will be the legacy you take out of here, and you've got the choice, you've got the power. You can walk away from here and go straight back into your business, or you can actually start building on those networks. But from my point of view and from RIRDC's point of view, the legacy we'll leave will be dependent on how well you use the people that you've met. And how well you interact with them over the next few years. From RIRDC's perspective, it's been fascinating sitting here listening to the conversation. Words like connectivity, networking, relationships, collaboration. Collaboration came out really strongly. And I'll look at our core business. Obviously, we look after some industries that don't have their own RDCs. We look after new and emerging industries. And we look at issues that run across RDCs. There's a whole lot of lessons for us. There's a whole lot of learnings for us out of what I've heard and what we've heard here today. And we will certainly be going away and thinking about what impact and what some of the issues that have been raised mean for our business and where we put our effort. So look, thank you for that. It's been very, very insightful, particularly for myself, only having been in the role here for about 4 months. I've got a request, I've got a really important request before you actually switch back to your normal business, before you actually consolidate what you're actually going to do on Monday morning. What I would like to ask is before you actually leave here, be it before you actually put the keys in the car and turn on the ignition, I'd like you to send an email to Jen Medway or Max Kerr. You've got their email addresses. And I want you to give us some feedback. This is the first time we've run this, and I'd love to hear how it's gone for you. I want to know what worked. I want to know what we could do better. I also be really keen to know what impact you think it might have had on you and on your thinking. And I say this because we need that feedback to know where we go next. So please, everybody, it's very easy to say, oh, you know, most of the other people will send that feedback, but I want everybody. I want everybody before they turn their keys on, before they jump on that plane, once you've got your boarding pass, before you jump on the plane, please just flick an email over to Jen or to Max. You've got their addresses, and that will be very useful for us when we do our debriefing and where we look to where we go from here. So that's all I really wanted to say. My final comment is just a big thank you to everyone here. You've put in 3 days of your very busy lives. You've probably left loved ones at home. You've probably left businesses in the hands of others, and I appreciate the fact that you've come here and you've been able to give us your full attention for 3 days. That's a real gift, and we really do appreciate it, so thank you.
So where are we? That was, a really good summary, but where are we? And for me, standing here looking at you for these 3 days, I've seen you really examine this transition in agriculture, and we're moving from the development phase. We're out of that. We're not knocking over any more trees. We're not pushing up any more banks. We're now into this really big communication phase. And I just heard about communication all week. We heard about engagement. We heard about relationships. We heard about connectivity. We heard about sharing. And this is a new phase of agriculture. It's who do you engage and how do you do that? Is it about R&D and markets and community, and do you talk to your politicians and do you talk to your customers, and how do you have those conversations? But I'll tell you one thing, I recommend you have those conversations with those people in the same manner that you've been having these conversations for the past 3 days. The level and the respect and the listening and the maturity of the conversation has been really impressive, and it's a wonder to sit here and watch it. And the relationships you build from here, well, obviously there's some relationships within the room. I would really like to see you use that Facebook page to share your experiences. What worked? What didn't work? What did you learn from? What were you trying to do? What came out of that? And perhaps, we should meet again. Perhaps in a year or so we'll be back to RIRDC saying, we think that these sponsors, look at them, they really generously gave for this to happen. We think they may be interested in doing this again, because this is important enough that you may be able to do that. So share, continue the conversation, challenge each other, learn from each other in exactly the same manner that you've been doing this. Bloody impressive.